give a really warm welcome to not just our participants, but also our panelists and guest speakers from the Brown School. First of all, thank you, Sarah, for giving a great introduction about yourself. And now we would love to invite our Director of Global Programs, Tammy Orhort, to give a great introduction about herself. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Ziti. I'm delighted to be here. So as Ziti said, my name is Tammy Orhort, and I am the programs at the Brown School. So we have our own office for global programs that does a variety of different things. We certainly support the international students, and our office is the one that coordinates the international student orientation. We also, for students that are doing our global concentrations, the global practicum is run through GPO. We also offer what we call field-based courses overseas for students that want to have a travel component to their degree. We work with faculty. We have quite a few faculty who are doing global research, many of whom have centers or research grants where they hire students to work with them. If you have an interest in doing global research, there's that opportunity as well. And then we do programming throughout the year on resource sessions and cultural programming and academic programming and things like that. So I'm very happy to be here, happy to answer any questions. And I really thank the students for showing up this early to talk about their experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. So hi, everyone again. My name is Zizi Shishili. I use she, her, hers pronouns. And I'm currently the manager of global programs at the Brown School. I'm working closely with Tammy. And my main job, rather than focusing on faculty members and research, my job is working closely with our international students in terms of student advising, event coordination, and student admission and recruitment. I also graduated from Brown School, Master of Social Work program in 2020. As a previous international student, I'm very excited about today's topic. And then let's officially start. Next slide, please. So now I would love to give a great warm welcome to our student and alumni panelists today. I would love to have each of you introduce your name, home country, graduation year, degree program, concentration or specialization, and your favorite thing about being an international student at a Brown School. So first of all, let's welcome Peter Kalulu to give a brief introduction. Welcome, Peter.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. I think somewhere else now it might be good afternoon. My name is Peter Kalulu. I'm an international student, and I'm proud of that. I'm doing MPH, and I'm specializing in global health. I'm from Uganda, and I'm happy to be here. That's what I should tell you. So the interesting thing about being an international student, I think we are treated differently, but in a good way. So we are given much attention, I think, compared to the national students who are here, because I think we are new in the place and we don't know the places, most of the places. So I think that's why they give us much attention compared to other people. That's why I think I'm proud of being as an international student. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Next, let's welcome Vibo Kong.
Hi, everyone. Good morning from here. My name is Vibo Kong. I'm doing my MSW graduate in 2023 in May, concentration in mental health, and I chose specializations in research. So I'm from Cambodia originally. One thing about Brown School that I like the most is study room. I always engage in the study room all the weekend. I love the environment. I love the room. And it's so nice to be in those rooms. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivo. Next, we will have Portia Nati to give a great introduction. Welcome, Portia.
Thank you, Zizi. Hi, everyone. My name is Portia Nati. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I actually am an alum. I'm not a student. I just graduated from the Brown School with an MSW and an MSP degree, so social work and social policy. I For MSW, I concentrated in international social and economic development, which Tammy talked briefly about one of the components. And I also like research, so I'm now a research study coordinator with one of the centers at the Brown School here. So no longer a student, but a staff of the Brown School now. And one good thing about, there are so many wonderful things about the Brown School, but as international students, I would say that we get so much support. Just to add to what Peter said, we get a lot of support. So you might feel like you're coming into a new place. However, there's so much resources, Career Center, the Global Programs Office. So you are never alone. There's always people here to ensure that you are successful in the program and in the US. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Last but not least, let's welcome Chen Chen to give a brief introduction. Welcome.
Thank you, Zizi. My name is Chen Chen. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the second year MSW and MPH degree student. And hopefully I can graduate at 2022 May. My concentration is health and specialization is research. I originally from China. And the most thing I really enjoy is I can share a lot of my opinion as an international student, because a lot of native students do not have, and I can share my ideas, my opinions with them, and they really like my ideas. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chen Chen. I know that Ellie will probably join us shortly, and then we would circle back when he's here. Thank you all again for joining us today. And before we get into the discussion, I would love to have Tammy to give a brief overview of current Brown School international students. Welcome, Tammy.
Yes, thank you. We are so fortunate to have such a diverse representation of students from all over the world. So on the slide in front of you, these are countries where we have hosted students. Like all schools, our international student numbers are down a little bit post-COVID. We were averaging well over 100 per all three programs. So it was about 30% of our overall school pre-COVID. We're at like 75 for this incoming class. So not bad, but what I really like is city. So Chinese students do make up the largest group of students, but they're only 25% in this incoming class, which is also down a little bit from pre-COVID. But interestingly, and we're really proud of this, students from the continent of Africa as a group are our second largest group. So we have a lot of African students in the Brown School, which is great. And then we have, as you can see, a wide variety of students from all over the world, and they are international students. And I think there's absolute truth to this, are really some of the most accomplished of all of our students. They come already with a lot of work experience and with careers. We have, students who've already gone to medical school, been practicing doctors, who've worked in their ministries and their home government, who've set up their own nonprofits, who've taught in universities in their home country. So they're really, truly extraordinary and tend to be farther along in their careers than some of our American students. They are a wealth of information and bring great perspectives to the classroom. So can I have the next slide, please? So we've mentioned several of the students and have mentioned the different types of support that we provide at the Brown School. This is something else that we pride ourselves on. So in the green, the first green column, a lot of these are academic related supports. So academic affairs team, for example, or all of the advisors and admissions and the field office and communications lab. We have a stat lab as well. We have a phenomenal Brown School library that's located on the same floor as our academic affairs team, and they are really great. We have many different student groups, and I referred to some of the programming that we do. The professional development program is open to all students, and we have something called Open Classroom, where we have, faculty and experts who are talking about relevant current events and research, and that's completely free. So if you haven't already found the Brown School Open Classroom, I encourage you to look into that. And then the one in the blue, those are specifically for the Brown schools. So these are Brown school staff who work in financial aid. We have our own career center. Field education is the office that's going to help you with practicum, because all of the students in our school have to do practicum or internship. Global programs, we've talked about a lot. The communication lab is another amazing resource. Dr. Peter Coogan is the one who staffs that. He's really a genius when it comes to APA and graduate writing. So I always encourage students to work with him. And then we talk about a three-tiered advising because all of our students will be assigned 3 different advisors. So you'll have an academic advisor, which is someone in the academic affairs team. You'll be assigned a faculty advisor once you declare your concentration, and then you'll have a field advisor as well. So you'll have a person dedicated towards your functional area of study, and they're all there to support you in meeting your goals. And then we also have opportunities for students to connect with the administration and the deans, where there's a lot of transition going on right now. We're actually doing a dean search. So they just had a meeting with the students and the search team. The deans themselves would do what we call town halls, which just is an open meeting for students to talk with the dean. Sometimes they even bring coffee and call it caffeine with the deans. And then we do a lot of surveys, because obviously evidence-based is something that we believe in, and we want to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. So these are just a few of some of the different supports for students. And this is not even some of the wider university supports. We don't have OISS on there, for example, which is our Office of International Students and Scholars, who will help not just with the visa, but ongoing for work authorization, but they do a lot of programming as well. We have ESL supports too. So every international student will take an exam, and we have free English language courses that are specific to Brown School students and the content that you're going to be studying. So there's a lot there, and we really encourage students to take advantage of it.
Thank you, Tammy, for this introduction. I know that we have covered a lot of services and support at the Brown School. And before we jump into the WashU programs and resources, I would love to, invite our panelists to share some of their experiences, utilizing Brown School resources and support, especially for international students. And you're welcome to jump in if you want to share. Thank you.
I think I would start off with the UPass, transportation around St. Louis, or so housing. And we have a lot of housing around WashU, and most of them are in walking distance to school. And we have public transportation, and also WashU transportation coming into most of these neighborhoods. And if you see the UPass, which is on the slide, it is a bus pass that WashU gives you for you to be able to ride on the train and the public buses without having to pay any physical cash. So wherever you go around the city, to school, to the grocery store, you just swipe that, and then it gets you into the transportation system. I think that was very helpful here to me, very, very helpful, because as you know, we are free. Yeah, and it's free. Students. Yeah, you don't pay anything. What you just, as long as you are a student, you get that.
I think that to add on briefly on what she has said, I stay, I think, 15 minutes away from campus, and I use Metrolink, and it's UPass which has made me do everything. I move from home to school and from school to home, and I feel it's convenient compared to when you have your own car, maybe, and some other things. So I think that's part of what UPass is actually doing when it comes to Brown School. And then Start Lab, I would talk a bit about Start Lab, where we have guide and, as international students, I think we face a lot when it comes to writing style, how to write best literature reviews. So we have a lot to do when it comes to State Lab and when it comes to communication services, where they teach us how to write the best writing. Of course, we know our writing from our international countries, but when you come here a bit, it changes. So there are those labs that helps us to catch up with systems in the US. So we visit them, you make an appointment, you go and they teach you how to write, how to make well your papers. So it's really a good service that is being offered at Brown School.
I want to talk about the career service because I visit them a lot of times to revise my CV and my cover letter, and those stuffs are really helpful, and they can help you to mock interview, help you to find jobs, and even connect you to a related person that you can talk to. And also Brown School provide a lot of helpful events, such as I've tried to buy a car, and there is a session that talks about how to buy a car, how to choose the car. And after that, I connect that person, and he just teach me how to bargain with the dealer. And I think these events are very helpful.
Anyone? Okay, good.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just circle back a little bit about transportation and stuff. It's just very convenient when you don't have to pay for transportation whenever you go. It's not only Metrolink, but WashU provides shuttle. It's shuttle to home when you are just at school until 11 or something like that. I used to be at school until 11 p.m. So it's I use the shuttle to home. So it's very convenient and safe. And for housing, maybe there's a lot of choice, but WashU also have their own company called Quadrangle that you can look at that. But you have another alternative that is very convenient. Close to the campus, maybe you can walk the distance about a mile, something like that. And importantly, about the academic life, I would really emphasize on Brown School Library. They are very helpful. If you need some of the book, you just go to the library, tell them the cost of your class, professor name, and then it's they just give you a list of bunch of material that available for you. So you don't have to worry about where could I find the book, how, but they were there. They are there to help you to navigate the system. It's very convenient. And related to academic life, I would also emphasize on the Brown School English language. It's very, very helpful for me because as a native speaker, native writer, I'm not a native speaker and I'm also have a terrible writing, but join the course of the English language, it's really helped me to strengthening my writing, and professor is very helpful to have in order to just tell me what to do in the writings in order to just meet the expectation of the assignment. It's very helpful to navigate all those support systems. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing. I also want to highlight how amazing our services related to international student looking for a job or continue to pursuing a PhD program in the US. So for under career services, we will have some workshops like how to apply for OPT, CPT, H-1B, and then we also have writing center collaborated with career services to help students how to write like, personal statements and other supporting documents if you want to pursue a PhD program. So a lot of amazing programs and services out here, and we will welcome you to look into our website for further information. And next slide. So I know that a lot of panelists already cover like the services, programs and resources of WashU. One of the highlights is definitely our transportation services. But in addition to that, we have one designated office for international students and scholars. And we also have our own Happy Health and Wellness Center, and also English support and resources program, culture events and student groups events, and other great facilities, including our own theater and also recreation center. In the next slide, I will go into the details about some of the significant programs for international students and scholars. And first of all, it's definitely going to be international students and scholars office. So currently at a Brown School, we have one like a designated OISS advisor for international students at a Brown School. And in addition to that, OISS office would have like one-on-one advising, mostly related to, the maintenance of F1 visa, J1 status, and they will also provide assistance and advising for, how to obtain an CPT or OPT. And furthermore, they will have like guidelines and resources for, how to find like H1B sponsor information and etc. And also another area I know a lot of international students are interested in is definitely employment. Many international students at WashU have like part-time job during their study. So with OISS, the OISS office resources and support, you will have information and guidelines about how to apply for a social security number, which is significant for international students to get a paid job in the US. Besides that, they will also provide information about how to file tax, also orientation sections to US and WashU. In addition to that, they also have very diverse, social and academic events. The recent one will be, so they just have like an open house about Halloween this Monday. So they try to, provide as much as they can to, engage students and help them to adjust their life in US. And next slide, please. We also highlight about WashU's own Happy Health and Wellness Center. I know a lot of students, they have to fulfill the, especially international students, have to fulfill the immunization requirements. So before your arrival to the US, Happy would also provide, information about how, what vaccines you have to get and what documents you have to prepare, etc., in order to fulfill the US, legal requirements to come here and study. And also the other part is that all international students are required to have, insurance coverage. And one of the benefits of that is that, you can utilize the services here. For example, you will have like one free annual health check here. And you can also utilize their resources about maybe getting a, immunization services or your health check or etc. And in addition to physical health services, Happy also have like mental health services. Every student each academic year would have 9 free sessions. So you can schedule an appointment with their therapists in student portal system. And another highlight would be that currently we have 2 mentoring speaker therapists at Happy that would be really helpful for students who are not comfortable about using English to receive the services. And also under Habif, they have their own pharmacy. Next slide, please. And the third part will be about our great English support and resources. I know a lot of panelists already share about their experiences with, English course, which is free of charge. And then in addition to that, Brown School has its own communication lab, which is kind of like a writing office. So in this office, our Dr. Peter Coogan will help you to prepare for your presentation, or how to write a US style, APA style assignments. They will also have services about how to prepare for your personal statement if you want to apply for a job or a PhD program, or etc. And outside of the Brown School, WashU has its own writing center as well. And you are also welcome to schedule an appointment with them. And the last one will be English Corner, which is under the OISS services. Next slide, please. And in addition to this, great offices, departments, and programs, WashU and Brown School have a lot of culture-related events. Here are just some pictures about the programs here. For example, every year WashU would have a Lunar New Year celebration at Addison Theater. And then in the Brown School, we have our own annual culture showcase. And then recently we just have a Mid-Autumn Festival celebration with faculty member and international students. Sarah, could you please recover the PowerPoint, please? So while we are waiting for Sarah to, recovering the PowerPoint, I saw Ellie's here. Ellie, would you mind jumping in and give a brief introduction, because we missed you at the beginning. Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you, guys. I just had an emergency internet situation this morning. It never happened, but I guess it happened now anyway. So my name is Ali. Hello, everyone. And I am a second year MPH student. I am from Libya. My specialization is mental and behavioral health. And next semester is going to be my last semester. So it's really nice to meet you all. So please feel free to ask any questions. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect timing. Thank you, Ali, for jumping in. So yeah, here are just a lot of diverse culture events in WashU and at the Brown School. Next slide is just a lot of student groups within the Brown School. I know that we really value the diverse students' background. And so here we have a lot of students self-organized events. Pre-COVID, we have a lot of events going on. I was one of the co-chair at ISA, International Student Association. In the past, we have International Student Recognition Day. We would have, co-host with Grow Programs Office to host annual culture showcase. So a lot of event going on as we really value the diversity of our student body. Next slide, please. And here's just some facility photos. I know our panelists have shared their experiences, especially with our WashU transportation services. In addition to that, we have our own WashU Recreation Center, where you can have free access to the gym, some really awesome classes like Zumba or yoga. They also have a pool there, you can swim. So it's just we have really great facilities to help students, to fulfill their life outside the academic life. And also, I know that many students are concerned about the safety issues here. WashU does have its own WashU Police Department within the campus. So no matter it is like really big, like, safety concern, or you just want to recharge your battery of your car, you are always welcome to call our own WashU PD, like police department hotline, and they will be there as soon as they can to help address your, emergencies or current concerns. So I know that I have talked a lot about our programs and services and facilities and WashU, and now I would love to invite our panelists, including our like guest speakers, to share about their experiences utilize these resources. You're welcome to jump in.
I think I'll go again first. So one other very nice thing about admissions office is they're also happy to connect you with a current student as they have us here today. So you are from China, you are from Russia, you are from whichever country. As you saw the list, almost every part of the world, we have students, international students here. So you can also reach out to the admissions office or even to Tammy or Zizi and say, can you connect me to a student from Nigeria because I'm from Nigeria? I want to get a one-on-one. I know this is just for 1 hour. You would want to talk more to know how that Nigerian student has been able to survive here. Admissions office and Tammy would also help connect you. So if that is an option, if you want like more than what we give you today, you can also reach out to them and then they will connect you to one of us. I'm sure we will leave our email addresses here as well if you want to reach out. I wanted to just add that so that people would know.
Yes, thank you. There is a program called peer-to-peer. When now you are admitted, you are assigned a second-year student to match up with you, so that when you start your semester, you have someone who has ever gone through the system. So this person you meet every week, you decide on the day that you have to meet, and then he or she keeps on telling you, this is how I went through. So if you follow this, you may also go through. So it's a good service that they keep on providing you as you're new so that you can catch up with the system. So that's another thing. And then I can talk about the gym. These days I started going to the gym, and then I also do some workout. And all these services are free. You don't need to pay for, you just schedule a time and then you go and then you work out and then that's all. So I think there are many services that are available for students, which it's upon you to decide that I want to use this service and it is free. So you just have to get time and then say this time is for my workout, this time is for my studies, this time is for this other thing. So it's upon your priority on what you want to do, but everything is available for you at any time you want it, anywhere you want it, but within WashU.
So Peter, you've already got a request for someone to connect with you in the chat, a fellow Ugandan. So I'll answer one of the questions that came up across in the Q&A. I'm already jumping ahead here, Ziti, sorry, but one of the participants asked about the difference between the F1 and the J1 visas. So the F1 is the standard student visa, and that is what most of you will apply for. J1 are sponsored visas. So if you have someone else who's entirely paying for your education, such as your government, a lot of Saudi students, for example, are on J1 visas, or if you're doing like a Fulbright or those type of fellowships, third-party fellowships, then you would have a J1 visa, but they're fairly rare. The vast majority of our students are on F1s. And I will say, when you apply to, you have to show the US government, you have to fill out something that's called a DCOF, Declaration and Certification of Finances. So you have to show the US government that you have enough money to cover not only the cost of the education, but living expenses as well. So that is something to start thinking about now, because you'll have to show bank statements and things like that. So if there's other questions about visas, I'm happy to answer them online or offline. My office works really closely with admissions on visas for students.
Thank you all for sharing, and also thank you, Tammy, for answering the questions. I know that many, we already start receiving a lot of questions, and we also collect some questions before the webinar today. And now I just cannot wait to jump into the Q&A sections. So at the same time, feel free to post your questions there, and then we will start, inviting our panelists to answer the questions. So I noticed that there's one question specifically about 3-2 MPH program at the WashU. So Michaela asked about what would the status of the fourth-year student of the program be, and would they still be considered an undergraduate student and have access to all undergraduate resources? Also, will I be able to work towards an astro undergraduate minor in the fourth year? So I would like to invite Sarah to answer these questions. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, happy to answer. So thanks for the question, Michaela. So as a 3-2 student, you are still what we consider prime to your undergraduate program in your fourth year, although you will be taking exclusively Brown School courses in that year. So what this mostly means is that when it comes to tuition structure and funding, all of that will still be housed under your undergraduate program. So you'll be paying undergraduate tuition, and then any funding you received at the undergraduate level will go toward that fourth year, which will be your first year at the Brown School. Now, you certainly can still take advantage of all the undergraduate resources in that first year, even though you'll be in the Brown School. You can also start taking advantage of Brown School resources in that first year that you're at the Brown School or your fourth year. We know how important it is to enjoy your senior year of undergrad, and so we certainly want you to be able to participate in all of those things, and so definitely feel free to stay involved in as much as you'd like. And then finally, when it comes to the courses and taking a minor, your course load in your first year at the Brown School will be pretty standard. So there's not a ton of room to take extra courses. If you want to talk about pursuing other minors or majors, you'd need to talk to your academic advisor about the feasibility of that now, because once you get into Brown School courses, it gets a little tricky to add any other coursework outside of what you're taking at the Brown School.
Thank you, Sarah. Here we have another question about J1 visa. So Tammy, do McDonald fellows get J1 visas as well?
Yes, I do believe McDonald fellows are on J1 visas. And honestly, there's not a big difference between the J1 and the F1. The work option is a little different. So J1s get practical training instead of OPT, which is actually a slightly easier process than OPT, which is it's basically just work authorization for students after they graduate. It stands for optional practical training. But MSW, all students get a year, and MPH students are STEM eligible, so they can apply for up to 3. But you do get work authorization whether you're a J1 or an F1. And that's because McDonald's paying all of your expenses.
All right, thank you, Tammy. So we have another question about about postmaster certificate program during the last year of MPH program. So I'm happy to briefly answer about that, but please feel free to fill in if I miss anything. So from what I understand, we have a case in the past that a student graduated from MPH program, and during their OPT period, we found out, so OISS found out they are taking like a postmaster certificate program, which is not allowed to do so because you are supposed to utilize that period, for practice rather than other academic related work. So I'm not sure about this question, but I saw that Sarah can jump in. Sarah, please go ahead about the postmaster question.
Sure. So unfortunately I don't know too much more than Zizi does. What I do know is that our students certainly have access to a lot of the resources that the Office of Professional Development offers, which is where the postmaster certificate is housed out of. I do believe, though, in order to be eligible for the postmaster certificate, you do have to have a master's. So you would need to wait until you've graduated with that MPH. You might be able to apply during your last semester in the MPH, depending on when applications for that certificate opens. But you'll have to have that MPH in hand when you start the certificate program.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. It's post-master's, so you have to have finished your master's. But just to reiterate what Zizi said, you could not graduate, start OPT, which is work, and then pursue a postmaster's certificate at the same time, because the U.S. government only allows you to work full-time or be a student full-time. You can't do both.
And if you are outside the US, I think you're free to do so. But if you are in US, using like OPT, I don't think that would work, but you can, you're welcome to email OISS office, so, you can get a better answer. Next, so we have a question about, the life outside the classroom. So Anna is asking if there are any like yoga events being organized on campus. I saw that Chen Chen is, responding this question. Chen Chen, would you mind jumping in about this question?
Yeah, sure. So we have several yoga classes from Monday to Sunday at the gym. And there is also some events held by the gym, and it is outside the campus. Like I remember there was one that called Yoga Under the Arch. So students will come to the arch and do yoga under the arch.
And that's in my background. In case
Yeah.
you don't know, the St. Louis Arch is the famous monument in St. Louis on the river, because St. Louis is the gateway to the West, the city from which everyone left before they went and moved out and back in the 1800s, when the western part of the country wasn't very well developed. You can go to the top, and there's a really cool museum.
Yeah, thanks, Tammy and Chen Chen. We have another question about, looking for housing resources. I wonder if our panelists have any experiences, how to look for housing. Vivo, you're welcome to just jump in. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think every year, WashU will invite you to the Facebook group. It's called WashU something. I forgot the name of the group, so you can find resources or housing. They post a list of someone that you are willing to stay with, so you can contact with those people and start looking for the housing. So I think for the housing, it's very convenient if you could find the house around the campus, maybe around 1 mile. I think it's a walk distance around like 15 or 20 minutes from school. So most of the popular is on the Dema Loop, Central West End. They are the more popular places for students to live. And for the price, it depends on how big is your room you would be and how many bathrooms you want, something like that. So it's approximately around 600 per month or 700. It depends on you. But if you want to have a roommate, you ideally need to look for the Brown School group, so you can share the room with them. And most of the housings that surround WashU is accessible to the bus and the shuttle. So no worry about the transportations. That's from my experience. Thank you.
Yeah, I think to add small on what he said, Facebook is something that helped me also get a house where I'm currently living. So when you're admitted, you are given a link to a secure Facebook page for Brown School. So it's Brown School admitted student. So you will have access to information posted there. and also some other international Facebook pages. So you connect there. So all the information regarding housing will be posted there. And if you follow critically, you will find some which are genuine, most especially on those pages. There are other pages on Facebook which you will also get, but some are not very much helpful. They have scams, but this is from Brown School. This is from Washington University in St. Louis. So they are secure. So they always post many information there that can help you secure a house while you're still living in your country, with the help of everyone who is in that group, including the Global Programs Office. They're always there, and they always avail information that's available for housing for resources. So you need to worry about how can I get admitted, then you can get information to such housing resources. Thank you.
Zizi, I just want to add like one quick point about housing. I guess like Zizi already posted in the chat several resources from WashU official website about housing. And this include the apartment referral service, which when you get your when you are admitted and you get your WashU email, you will have access to this referral service. And it's like a large bulletin where WashU students post apartments that they want to sublease, or if they are looking for roommates and so on. My main advice is that once you are admitted and you decide to come to the OISS, start looking for housing as soon as possible, even when you're like in your home country, because when you get here, there are many things to do, from like vaccination, there are many things to do, and you will not really have time just to like try to figure out the housing if you did not start looking for housing from home. So that's really my main advice. And I just want like to respond quickly for Anna's question about security in St. Louis. So security in St. Louis, I mean, it depends. It depends on where do you want to go, where are you living. But most of WashU students, I guess the students that I know, or the international students that I know, they live around like WashU, around like, as people said, like 1 mile and a half max. But there are some domestic students, which are American students, who live like in like very far away areas. I mean, it depends if you're gonna get a car or not. It depends if you're gonna use public transit or public transportation at night. But regardless, relatively speaking, St. Louis is safe in the daytime. In the nighttime, if you are like going out, like in let's say you are going out like to places that are very far away from campus, my advice: do not go alone. At least go with a friend or two. I guess this is like literally the advice for anyone anywhere. But relatively speaking, St. Louis is safe, but I guess it's really important like to do your own research about like the areas to avoid in St. Louis. Thanks.
Thank you all for the sharing. The next, we have a question about like a MSW concentration, ISED. I know that this is a really popular concentration for a lot of international students. So the question is that what kind of international student experiences, including studies or practice, will be available during this, studies?
Yeah, ISED. So again, that stands for International Social Economic Development. My office is really involved with those students because one, we strongly encourage the ISED students to do a global practicum, and we have a global practicum process for students that are, I'll put it in the chat, for students that are interested in working in a third country. We have funding for this, and we require them to apply to do a global practicum. Also at this link that I put in, the SA stands for study abroad. if you click on the Brown School little icon, you can also see the various field-based courses that we have. So these are faculty-led courses that actually include a component outside St. Louis or overseas. So this year we have classes that are going, we have a social entrepreneurship class that's going to Berlin over spring break. We have an LGBTQ class in Brazil over spring break. We have a sustainability and health and development class in Costa Rica in May. And we have a gender, urban design, and physical activity class in Berlin in May. We also offer, and I'm very excited about this, as you can imagine, we haven't been doing this a lot of traveling over the past 3 years. So this is the first time we are reoffering all of these classes again, including our DC policy class, which goes to Washington, DC and meets with representatives in Congress and presents a policy brief to them on an actual piece of legislation. We have been doing this for a while now, but obviously could not do it in person. And we will be going back to Washington, DC over spring break for that course as well. So these are some opportunities for students who want to really have an immersive experience. We also have, to sort of jump to another question that's available around like conferences and speakers. We have global speakers on a weekly basis, and Zoom actually has opened things up in a way that has given even more access to students to these amazing resources. So we will have professors that are presenting on their research. We will have experts who are presenting both in person and online. We will have conferences that are available and open to students. For example, just last week was the Global Health Conference at the medical school, and the topic was human rights, and that was free and open to students. And it was truly extraordinary. And again, we had people from all over the region and the US and even the world who were participating in that conference. So there are a lot of opportunities for students to get involved to make their degree more global. I also mentioned working with faculty. So our faculty are phenomenal and are doing some really absolutely game-changing research projects around the world, and you can get involved and work on those projects with the students, whether that's in practicum, whether that's as a paid research assistant, you know, whether you get hired after you graduate, as Portia did, and you're working full-time. So lots of really great opportunities.
Thanks for sharing. The next question is about MPH. NASA would love to know like which certificate are helpful after graduation from CPH or CHES. In addition to that, what decisions in terms of choosing your career path do you think plays a role, especially for the first year, especially in the first year of graduate school?
Do we have any MPH students who can tell us the difference between those specializations? I know you have to take the CPH exam as part of your public health degree. So that is something that will be included in the degree. There's a preparatory course. You take the exam in order to graduate from the Brown School. I'm less familiar with CHES. Does anyone know what that is? Ali?
To be honest, I'm not really familiar with the second exam. I only know about the CPH exam, but the CPH exam, as Tammy said, it's like a mandate exam that we really need to do it in order to graduate. And I guess the good thing about WashU, they give you this voucher, which is basically like a ticket for a free exam. So you can do the exam at least by the end of your third semester or by the beginning of your last semester or spring semester. I'm not really sure about the CHES if it's but I know that it's not a priority here, at least in the public health school. We only have the CBH exam.
Thank you, Ellie. So I know that, it's getting close to the end of our, program today, but before we jump into the last question, I know that there are a lot of pre-submit questions regarding the application process, scholarship opportunities, funding opportunities for international students. And we would love to direct you to our next info section, Ask Me Anything, where you will have more like a concrete and detailed answer about, those funding opportunities and, how to make your application a stronger one. So Sarah will post the registration later in the chat. So feel free to register for it if you are looking for those answers. And then let's come to the last questions about the practicum. So I know that this plays a huge role in, all programs, students' life. And what kind of practicum practice work on social enterprise is available for social entrepreneurship specialization. And our panelists are also welcome to, share about their experiences looking for an internship or practicum and how do it look like. Feel free to jump in.
Okay, so for my 3 years at the Brown School, all my practicums were gotten through the field of Office of Field Education. So again, there are so many resources here because as international students, you don't have an idea the organizations here that are tailored towards your interest or your career goal, but you reach out to Office of Field Education, they have so many organizations and then they will take you through it. And then what you want to do, they will make sure they find you a place. So that's one good thing about WashU. I know other MSW programs, you would have to go looking for the organizations, which we do that at the Brown School, but OFE still has a list. So I would say, if reach out to Office of Field Education and do that very early. I did that very early and all my practicums, I mean, it's been easy getting it. So just reach out early as soon as you arrive at the Brown School, because as MSW students, you do 2 practicums, like the foundation and the concentration. So as soon as you arrive, please reach out to OFE. They will make time for you. They have advisors like every day of the week, and they will help you find something. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Next slide, please. I know that, we still have a lot of questions remain unanswered, but like what I mentioned earlier, we still have more like programming coming up. So please feel free to jump to our Brown School website to check in more information. We also have like a WeChat, platform where you can, look for more details about upcoming sessions focusing on international students. And here's our contact information, and feel free to take them down. And then we will also love to help you connect with, maybe one of our panelists today if you have more specific questions. Last, I just really want to say thank you for joining us live or watching us, record videos today. Thank you to our student and alumni panelists for providing us with their experiences, and answers today. And we really hope to see you, in the upcoming, academic cycle. And thank you for watching. And we are looking forward to hearing from you soon. And feel free to contact us and reach out to us, use either email or our social media. And we will be more than welcome to answer your questions for the future connections. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.